Hi, good morning, everybody. I'm so sorry for the delay. There was some technical problems, but here we are. So that's a good news. And we wanted to welcome you to this MobieTalks session. And thank you so much for taking the time to join us today. My name is Julia, and I'm part of the marketing team at MobieTrain, and I'll be moderating this session today. For those who are joining MobieTalks for the first time, I will share my screen right now. We have a nice presentation. I will explain you a little bit briefly what it is. MobieTalks is a digital format designed to spread and promote employee-oriented cultures, and we have a lot of guests coming up every time from different industry and different backgrounds. This time, we're talking about something that every beauty and retail brand is experiencing right now. So we have seen that customers are more informed than ever. They watch TikToks, they go on reviews, and they discover products before going in the store. And they walk in already in the store, they already decided what they want. So that shift has a major implication for the team, the training, and we've seen also on brand consistency. So I'm very happy today to have two great guests that will join me today. First, Jesse Bosselaar is a senior account executive at MobieTrain, and Kasper Heemskerk, which is the international education director at Balmain Hair. Welcome, guys. Thank you for joining.
Thank you.
Happy to be here.
So together we will explore how the brands can prepare their team for this new reality, and we will ask them a little bit more. Maybe Kasper, you can introduce yourself and maybe tell a little bit more what you do at Balmain and your story and background.
Yeah, sure. So hello, everybody. Welcome. I'm happy to be here. And thank you guys at MobieTrain, of course, for the invitation. My name is Kasper Heemskerk. I am the International Education Director and Brand Developer. So that means that I wear a lot of different hats within our company. I'm globally responsible for educating. So that is also why, of course, we use the MobieTrain platform personally. And I'm responsible for technical product development, so using my background as being a hairdresser as well, and having just the chemical knowledge on how products are made. We then, myself and the chemists are creating these products. And then thirdly, what I'm doing as well is next to the education and the technical product development, I develop new brands within our company. So our main core brand being Balmain, but recently we've expanded our company's profile by adding new brands to our company profile, and that is mainly what I'm responsible for. So I'm using then my background in economy and marketing to make sure that that happens. So having that all together makes me this, this caterpillar with 1,000 legs walking around in our office.
Thank you so much. And obviously, Jesse is one of my colleagues. He has seen everything in this experience. Like customers really ask, they're really demanding more and more. So I know Jesse is a big expert in this topic, and he has seen many from different industries, many examples of that. Maybe Jesse, you want to say a little bit more about your role, and then we can move to the main topic.
Yes, of course. Thanks and good morning, everyone. As it says, my name is Jesse. Been working on the commercial side at MobieTrain for the last almost 5 years, and by doing so, I mainly work with brands in retail and hospitality on the question: how do we promote ambassadorship? How do we create a learning culture? And that is partially our platform and a tool, but also everything we do around it. Even this platform that we have here and inspiring the world around us, on these kind of topics is part of my job. So also one of the best parts of my job, interacting with all the great brands, all the great organizations we have around us. It's what resonates, what I like, and the ambassadorship in sales is something that also resonates personally. So from that seat, happy to join the conversation today.
Thank you so much. So let's get into it, of course. Again, our guests, we already introduced them, but let's see. Start with that. Customers, we said, they already arrived in the store informed. And we feel that shift. They don't walk in just curious anymore to discover the products. They already have done it. As I said, they watch TikToks, they compare the reviews, and they made up their opinion about them. So, Kasper, how have the customer conversation changed in, like, for the past few years, and what does the informed customer is now? And I know AI also plays a role, so maybe you can tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah. So you rightfully said, so the customer journey, so the buying journey starts at home. So people nowadays, with everything, with all the technology, all the media, social media that they have available, they are well informed. So when they come to a store, being either a salon or a retail environment, they know what they want. They know what they're looking for. However, with all these different platforms and all these opinions that you can find on these social media platforms, what we see is that people, although being informed, they're also sometimes misinformed because they are not being critical themselves on the information that they receive online. So therefore, I think it's really important as a beauty advisor in the store to be well informed about how to advise the customer in the correct way, because they will have made up their opinion. They come in and target to the product that they would want. So as a beauty advisor, you need to be well informed on making sure to guide the customer to the make the most informed decision.
Of course. Yeah, because we have seen it, and also we have some data to back it up. More than 70% of European customers, they research online before buying in a store. And what you said, Kasper, is just changing a lot how also the teams are approaching it today on how they approach customer itself when they arrive to the store. So does that increase pressure on the advisor? And maybe, yes, you can add on that. Do you think it changes the role of education inside an organization?
Yeah, I think it does. When you speak to most brands, you see that the role of an advisor has changed over the years. As Kasper says, hey, it's on them to be super well informed, but the role of the brick and mortar store also changed a bit. It's more about the experience and interacting with the brand and the employees, the face of the company really being the ambassadors there. And that's not to be exchanged with just being a product expert. So it is very much about the product, but the extra difficulty that a lot of organizations have seen is that people now go to a store to also interact with the brand. Stores are also being rebranded as experience centers more, we see, and that also changes the role of the ambassadors there. How are you an ambassador of your organization? How do you make sure that the mission of the organization resonates through you to your visitors? And that just asks for a different POV.
Yeah, if I can add to that, I think what we see with customers, they want to belong to a society, right? So having a very social life on social media, meaning that we have less human-to-human contact. And what we see is that a social marketing is very important, but having a social marketing, then you need to make sure that the person that is representing the brand knows everything from the brand, the history, the whys, and that they are comfortable to explain the key points of difference of the brand. So not only about the ingredients, but what does the brand stand for itself?
Of course. Thank you. But so let's talk a little bit more about Balmain Hair in particular. So we have seen that it has expandedly grew a lot in the past year. So what happens internally when the portfolio grows so much? And maybe you can tell us a little bit more about the alignment, where it starts to become difficult to align employees and your team. And in general, is it more about product knowledge or about the communication? Where do you see some difficulties in that?
Yeah, so we made the switch then from going to an online digital education platform. I think everybody did it during during COVID, where we first went into all the webinars, and then we eventually started searching for different platforms, and we came across then MobieTrain. The advantage for us of working with MobieTrain and expanding there is that we have full control over what we share all over the globe. So we have a unique way of that our business. We don't have necessarily the stores directly with us. No, we work via a network of distributors, and then we need to make sure that the distributors is well informed, and then the distributor sells it to the stores. But all these different layers will have access to our MobieTrain platform, so we control the information that has been shared.
No, that's great. I mean, in this way, you are sure that like whenever you want to share information, that everybody is aligned, and that definitely a little bit smoother on that challenge that you can have. But maybe Jesse, if you can add a little bit more, maybe have you seen like when brands they grow a lot, where do you think the misalignment begins as well? Like maybe you've seen in different examples that you want to share.
Yeah, the more you grow, the more complexity you add. You add different nuances, you add different countries, different locations, different languages, whatever. There are a lot of variables to take into play. And so if you do not have your mission and your core very strictly formed, it is difficult to also pick the direction you want to grow in without any wild growth happening. So I think when organizations tell me about, hey, we want to expand, or we want to grow, or we want to do this, how can we use MobieTrain for that? For us, it's really important to sit down together and to see, hey, what is the mission, and is that mission clearly aligned? And based on that mission, what can we do, and what can we start to incorporate into a platform like this? Because if you don't have these core values very sharply defined, then where do you want to grow to? So that's always a big test, or a big question I ask. Growth is always a big pressure test on how good is your core fundamentals ingrained in the organization.
Perfect, thank you. We also have a question actually from the chat from Gabriel. I'm going to put it on stage so you can see. It's for both of you. So do you think product knowledge is enough today, or is storytelling just as important?
Yeah, for me and for our business, both are equally important. So we on our platform spend a lot of time on the storytelling, the history, and because the storytelling and the product knowledge are intertwined with each other. So you need to know about the different products and the different ingredients and what they actually do, either for the skin or for the hair in our case, because that is the information that the consumer has online as well. Like what we see on social media, they talk about the different ingredients or the ingredients to avoid. And there is so much misinformation on ingredients in the world right now. And there is just one thing that I always say to clients all over the world. If a product is allowed to be sold within the European Union, regardless the ingredients that are in there, it's safe for you, because the European Union is the strictest, or has the strictest laws regarding cosmetic products. We also, in 1996, banned animal testing or animal products or whatever within certain products. So we are very safe. If it is not allowed to be sold within the European Union, then you have to be careful.
That makes sense. It actually helps me a lot because, so many times I want to buy a product and I see it on TikTok and I see these people that sometimes I call them experts, but then they say things that I try to trust, but I'm not really knowledgeable about. So I think your insights is very valuable. So thank you. And thank you, Gabriel, for the question. And I wanted to also talk about this. This is a quote that Kasper shared with me in the past. It takes time to lose time to win time. And I know it's very valuable for him, but I wanted him to tell us a little bit more about it. So what does it mean to you?
Yeah, so when we talk about education and talking about the quote, takes time to lose time to win time, is that whenever you decide to be educated or to inform yourself, you have to lose time out of your schedule to take the time to inform yourself. But eventually, when you've gained more knowledge, you win time in explaining whatever you need to explain to in whatever topic you would want to use it. If it's in your day-to-day business, if it is within sales within the on the retail environment, using that knowledge that you've lost time on gaining the knowledge would win the time eventually.
Yeah, and I feel like it also helps your team eventually after that, sharing your knowledge and everything you've learned in the past, then you can, let's say, translate it to other people, so then they can also share their.
So it's for business owners or for managers, it's like allowing your team to lose time out of their busy schedule to be educated.
Which is not always easy, of course. Sometimes people say, I'm too busy with that. But then, let's say in your example, you took the time for the digital academy and now you're having results. We will talk about it a bit more later. That's like the biggest accomplishment and results that you can see from this code. So thank you for sharing. It's really, I found it really powerful.
It's a very nice one. I'm going to use this. I usually have a lot of conversations on, hey, do you see training as a cost or as an investment? And this really resonates there. So also thanks from my side, Kasper.
So maybe, we also have another question. So how do you know the time invested in learning is really paying off in store?
Well, it's a difficult question, but I think it's also a very relevant question. And you do see it like immediately with how enthusiastic people are on using or talking about the product. So when they learn something new, they get excited and they want to talk about it. And when you are excited and you talk about it and you believe in it, then it is when you will score. And then that is when people will be infected by you and buy the product. So the eventual purchase is then the confirmation that the time lost has paid off.
Yeah, that's definitely.
Maybe if I can add something there, what a lot of my clients say and do is they ask their managers to observe their employees for how comfortable they are in their sales chats with visitors. Because the more misinformed or uninformed employees are, the less comfortable they get selling. Selling is already scary enough, I can tell by experience. So the more comfortable they are, that usually is a very good indication of, hey, that they have the proper training. And then obviously all the nice business metrics, the conversion, the total basket size, etc., will follow. But maybe for anyone in retail in the call today, start to observe how comfortable your employees are in their day-to-day sales interactions. That's
exactly, and that's exactly like communicating to the point I wanted to make after. Like if your team doesn't feel prepared, if they don't have the knowledge in the first place, the experience or the customer experience in general will become inconsistent. And that's what we were talking about it in general before. So before I get to the questions Sylvia have seen, and I will put it on stage right in 5 minutes, but maybe you can tell us a bit more about this. Like before launching the academy, that reconnects as well with the question, where did you see the inconsistency in your team? What were the red flags, if we want to call them like that?
Yeah, so that was more an internal team. So when we always focused a lot on the education more towards the outside, so towards our customers and their customers, and spending a lot of time in that and traveling all over the globe and educating in that. And we do still travel all around the globe and educate. But we also forgot to educate our team internally sometimes. And then making the decision to go into MobieTrain, an online education platform, gives us the opportunity to educate our internal team very easily and quickly without having to spend the full day together in our academy and giving a presentation. So it's having the education at their fingertips at every time that they want, even when they're working on a project and then want to refresh their memory, they can go onto the platform and easily get the information.
Thank you. Yeah, definitely having the like especially on the mobile phone, it's very so easy to so accessible to get. That will definitely, even if you forget something or you're unsure about something else, about a product or anything, then you can always check it and make sure to be informed. We, as I was mentioning before, we also have a question from Sylvia. That is, do you educate also in customer journey? I think it's, yeah, Kasper, mainly for you.
Yeah. So the customer journey for us is very important. So we do the customer journey internally. So our team needs to be well informed of that. And we do it also externally. So towards our partners or our distributors globally. And we even include the customer journey into the education towards their customer. Because if you understand the customer journey truly, where do all the touch points take place, and when are you able to influence the buyer within the customer journey, during which touch points you have to do that, I think becomes a very powerful tool to use.
Definitely. So thank you, Sylvia, for the question. Thank you, Kasper, obviously, for explaining it. So as we said, confident teams, they create confident brand experiences. So maybe we can talk a little bit more, like, I know, Jesse, also you've been part of all the journey with Kasper on building this digital academy that would translate all the knowledge that Kasper and his team has to all the distributors and all the experts and so on. So maybe you can tell us a bit more about the aftermath. So all of what changed after the implementation, maybe what feedback surprised you, or anything that you can share about your experience, maybe something we would change.
Is that a question to me?
To both of us. I think
Okay.
it's nice that you guys, you've been part of the same journey. So I think like you both have some relevant experience to share.
Yeah. I think what really stood out for me was the appetite on with the team, Kasper, when we did the launch in Brussels, and how happy and how hungry they were, not only the distributors but also the internal educators on both ends. So yeah, it's again super amazing to see. And also to me, it highlighted the importance of launching these things. I mean, MobieTrain is a platform, but to do a physical launch there where you have everyone together and you build a bit of an event around it. You work with a couple of incentives, learning and the culture and everything around it. It doesn't have to be top down. It can also be bottom up. It can also be stimulated to interact with the knowledge that you as an organization find important, that your employees, your people, your distributors know. So yeah, why not make it a bit more fun and incentivized? And yeah, that's really what we saw work there, right, Kasper?
Yeah, so that's true. So we thought that launching it during a live event where we had everybody together and making sure that to make a sort of a contest together was a fun way and in a gamification way to implement this new, our new platform then and our online academy. And we saw that by having that contest during the launch, that continued onwards until today. So where we have the leaderboard, where we still see that we have a top three, and they always try to overthrow the other person from the countries to make sure that their country is the number one in on the MobieTrain platform. So that gamification is, I think, a really huge part of it. I think if we are also talking a little bit about, well, what would you maybe do different, or whatever you want to improve, and I think it's also relevant to the question that we have: how often do you upload new learning programs and new modules? This is the key. Like, if you do not create new education regularly, people are not using it anymore. So like, it is important to update it, refresh it, making sure that the relevant information is there, or even just creating new questions in already existing education. So you don't necessarily have to do a whole new program. You can change an already existing program slightly and promote it in that way. That is very important to get the engagement on the platform. And that is definitely something that we find that we have to do even better.
Yeah, and I mean, we are also seeing it with other brands in general, not just in your industry, but in with different clients. The more you interact with the end user, with the you ask them for feedback, the more you ask them for what do you want to see in the learning courses. Is there something that you really don't feel so prepared about? Like the constant feedback between the person creating the learning programs and the person doing the learning programs, it has to be constant, and I think it's the most. But one of the biggest feedback that I receive from clients, so maybe, yes, you can confirm, maybe there's something else that, some advice that also you can give Renee or the audience that we have about learning programs and the digital academy in general.
I think, Julia, you were spot on. It is really, Renee, about, obviously having a rhythm in there. Of course, it's not about just uploading something once and forget about it. But what's even more important is to understand the target audience and what their problems are, and maybe also enable them to voice their problems a bit, because then, all the things that are relevant for them will be unveiled. And if you manage to close that feedback loop into, hey, these are the things that are relevant for them, and these are therefore the things that I will feed into my learning platform, then you will create your continuous engagement and also have more than enough topics to do the monthly or sometimes even weekly upload. Basically, your end users are the treasure.
But I think what is important in doing that is be the end user. And what I mean with that is be the end user, follow the education yourself. So when it's already uploaded, follow the once in a while the already existing learning moments, so that you know, is this still relevant, yes or no, or do I need to update it?
That's definitely true. But also, I think what you mentioned before, the fact that doing little quizzes or like keeping the motivation high for the end customers, but in general, doing a little bit more of, just activities to make them more motivated to complete the learning courses is also very important. It takes time, as we said before, but then it pays off. We also have another question from Renee. I will also put it on stage, but how many people are working on the creation of the e-learning and the modules in your case, Kasper?
Yeah, so we have actively now 3 people working on it and creating it. But our advantage, of course, is that we already had like a really big library in education because of all the education that we do globally. So for us, it is the case just to make sure that that is then transferred into a learning moment on MobieTrain. So it is more taking away some of the information that the learning moments stay as short as possible, because if we do global education and we travel for it, I have 2 or 3 days to provide the education. However, you want to keep that short as a 20-minute learning moment on MobieTrain platform. So we have more of an overload in our library. So we have 3 people working on it.
Thank you, Renee, for the question. I think right now we're coming a little bit more to the end of our webinar. Please feel free, if you guys have more questions in the audience, to share them. But in general, I wanted to leave a little bit with the challenge and also a question, an open question to also our audience. So do you really feel your teams are ready for the customers? Because as we discussed it today, customers being so informed and so demanding, and it's always a little bit hard to anticipate their needs, and sharing knowledge has always been, it's becoming a little bit more challenging. So first of all, I wanted to thank you, our guests, both Jesse and Kasper, for sharing their knowledge about the topic. And everything, I think like been super insightful for what you shared, Kasper, of your experience on creating the digital academy, finding the need in the first place, because it's not always easy to recognize like there's a lack of communication or like there is a little bit of miscommunication between teams. So I want to thank you for sharing your knowledge and sharing your insights. But I see before we leave, there is a final question. So maybe we can end on that note. And I think it's a really great question because it's an advice one. So do you have any advice for brands just starting with a digital academy? And what would you do differently maybe today compared to your experience?
That's a good one. So, so I think I'm very happy and confident in the way how we started working with the digital platform because we tried different formats. So we've tried the webinars. We've done that very actively. Then we went into another platform that didn't work for us. So we were like hungry and searching for it, and came eventually across MobieTrain. So our team found the MobieTrain before MobieTrain found us. So what we did is we started small. So we started with an internal team. We called it the default team, where we created learning moments where the internal team was able to get experience with the platform and feel confident about the platform before we went into the launch with our global partners. And now we are ready for the next step, is that our global partners, we will make sure that some of their team members will have administrator rights so that they can invite their customers in their regions. So take it slowly, don't run too fast. So that would be my advice. And I would do it in the same way again. Just before this webinar, we had a meeting where the owner of the company wanted me to push and make, to do it quicker, the rollout, but I still believe in it's better today to do it slowly, but securely, and that you are very sure about what you're doing than running too fast.
And as we said, it takes time to lose time to win time. So here we go. Thank you so much. And thank you so much for the last question. Thank you for the audience also for participating. I will, of course, share an email with all the key takeaways from this webinar and also the recording. So, but thank you Jesse, and thank you Kasper for sharing your experience. We really enjoyed your expertise.
You're very welcome.
Perfect. Have a really nice day, everybody, and thank you again for joining.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Goodbye.
Bye.